you're asking me today who I think the toughest matchup for Belal is right now, I do think it is Sean Brady,
really?
right? I think because I think that's sort of a matchup there.
I think it's easy money for Belal.
So who do you think? Go ahead. Who do you think's the toughest matchup at
hardest,
welterweight for Belal? Ian Gary?
I don't know if he is, but I hope he is Carlos Prates. I want to see Carlos Prates fighting for the belt because he's a fucking monster and he smokes cigarettes. What's better than this, man?
I love it. You know,
Best podcast in the business. The name is Show Me the Money.
Welcome back. It is episode 46 of the Show Me the Money podcast. Where the hell is Gilbert Burns at, bro? Where's he at?
I don't fucking know, my brother, but Gilbert Burns stole my picanha, my brother. This whole week, I did not have picanha. So fuck
We made a
Burns.
nice picana last night for my brother's birthday. I hate to rub it in, bro, but it was unbelievably
The
good.
Wagyu picanha?
Yeah.
The best?
It was so good, bro.
Brother,
So I
fuck
hate to
them,
rub it
bro.
in, but Gilbert is probably eating the picanha right now. He wasn't able to make it to the show. We do have a very special guest, a guy that just made his 30 boxing debut as a commentator this weekend. Jason Anik, welcome to the show, bro.
oh, pleasure. I want to slow this down because I love being here. I've never met anyone that doesn't absolutely love Gilbert Durino. So sorry, I'll do my best. But great to be with you boys always. I like the little spot right now, but you guys are killing it. I know.
Dude, speaking of killing it, you're crushing it, bro. I'm gonna be honest. I haven't even told you this yet. It looked like you did what you did this weekend 1,000 times. I'm gonna be honest with you. So hats off to you. Every comment, it seemed like you got a lot of good feedback. What did you think of the weekend and how'd you enjoy it?
Thank you. That means a lot to hear it put that way and not just, I appreciate a lot of the feedback and people may say like crushing it, but that was really nice to hear from my friend.
For sure.
And that's why we save everything right for the show. So you got me there. But we did Dirty Boxing. Hanato was there, but Dirty Boxing at the Hangar in Miami. Platinum Mike Perry. John Jones is now an owner. The Kawa Brothers, first round management. It was an amazing experience. It was an amazing experience for me. And I will say, right, I've been watching my identical twin brother, John Anik, do this for a living for a long time, right? Like, and acutely, right? Like in his back pocket, like traveling with him, watching him, giving him criticism. So in a way, I felt very at home doing it. I did do some post-fight interviews before for Anthony Pettis, but no, there's areas, right? I listened back. I could tell you all the things I didn't do well, but it was a great opportunity. It was a lot of fun. Hanato was obviously there on the sticks. Had you ever commentated anything before, by the way?
Yes. For Cage Fury and a couple other
LFA,
promotions.
right? You did some stuff?
No,
or no?
not LFA. It was Gilbert. Gilbert did LFA.
Okay.
But I like to commentating, but you did a good job. But as you're not a guest today, you are hosted today, right? You're
A host, yeah. I
You're
love it.
getting the Gilbert Burns place.
The treatment, of
but
course.
I want to ask you that because I was commentating, but at the same time, when I saw you up there, and I saw John Anik watching, like you, and I want to understand the relationship between you two guys, because he is the voice of the UFC nowadays, right? Used to be Mike Goldberg.
Yep.
And how do you feel about that, him being there to support you, and if you feel pressure because of that? Because of course, you're not only brother, you are the fucking same. I look at you, I look at him, the fucking same.
No,
how do you feel about that?
we are.
He put pressures on you. This put pressure on you.
The opposite. No, seeing him when he arrived and he didn't get there till about 10 o'clock gave me great comfort. You know, what's really interesting, we have a younger brother who looks nothing like us. We're very competitive with him. I want to beat his ass. But John and I aren't very competitive with one another. John is competitive with me. John's competitive with everybody. You know, he always wants to win. He was born 3 minutes before me, and he always says, like, I wasn't going to lose the first race of my life. You know, he says that. But what I will say, right, like, watching him do what he has done in his career has brought me so much joy. I didn't know I wanted to really do this till probably 3-4 years ago. But I grew up, I was an actor, right? I did like musical theater and acting and dancing. So he used to come fly around and watch me perform. Yeah, it was in theater, a different stage, but for like 10, 15 years, I used to take notes on every broadcast, and he would get off the air and I would be the person he didn't want to hear from, because I'd be like, bro, why'd you say this? Well, custody battle. No, but all the different things that are out there, right? But no, our relationship, I'm closer to no one on this planet. I would feel no pressure to perform. I feel a little bit of pressure because of what he's accomplished. I wouldn't want, there are a lot of people that still think that was him up there. There are a lot of people that if they're watching the broadcast and don't see me, they think they're listening to him. So I want to do right by the family and by what he's put out there. But, anytime you're on a microphone, and you guys have done a lot of shows, right? You could finish the show and be like, all right, that was fire today. Or you might be like, I didn't have a great show. But oftentimes, it just kind of is what it is, and you move on. You're only as good as you can be that day. I feel like I did my best that night, and it is what it is.
Man, but I want to keep talking about that because it's so impressive how you guys, even the voice, even the way you guys talk is the same, like it's very similar. And when I was doing the podcast, everybody was talking on the chat, like saying, how the fuck John Anik now has hair? What is going on? and I was, no, this is his brother, and and he's doing a good job. But I have to do some criticism. Only one.
Please.
Only one.
Please.
I think you did a good job. But on the end, when you was asking fighters, like, do you want to shoot out your jeans, your coach? I think that was not...
you don't like that as a fighter if he asked you that?
Yeah, as a fighter...
Because it put them on the spot
because look about that. Like, sometimes, even myself, I spent 10 years in UFC, nobody knew me. Nobody gave a fuck about me. But once... And to be honest with you, I don't even remember if it was Joe Rogan, somebody asked a good question, or DC, but I think I start to appear to more people when I start to be myself and to talk the way I talk. So I feel sometimes it's better to extract some personality of the fighter than just shoot random questions. Like, I always hate when people, how do you feel on that fight? And everybody will say the same. It's like press conference. It's all the same. I'm asking that because I'm a huge fan of MMA, and I hate when you go to a press conference or a post-fight speech and they ask, how do you feeling about the fight? How do you prepare for this fight? And everybody say the same. I feel good. That's my only criticism.
I couldn't agree with you more. I couldn't agree with you more. And what I will say, if every fighter was like you.
Okay.
No. I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. And if you have enough time, I could tell you all the things that I think I did wrong. But the Wolf, Rob Perez, right? The post-fight interview with him, all I did was the Wolf, because I know he's going to flow. But you're right. That one particular line of questioning I don't like, right? However, before I ever did post-fight interviews for APFC, my brother gave me a few of them. Some of them I like very much. But that one, which he probably uses here and there, you can be sure if my brother John picked a spot to use that about a coach, it would be a good spot where it would make sense. But you're right, man. No question. I think extracting personality is... I agree with you. It's far better.
That was the first time that you're doing that, like
I
because
did two or three
commentating. How do you call when you do that? Because one thing is commentating, and another thing is interview after the fight. Is the same thing commentating?
I think the post-fight interviews is a different thing, but I also think some of the skills, right? You're a fighter. Right? The fact that you're great on a microphone is a bonus, right? My brother's a journalist. My brother talks for a living. Not unlike Joe Rogan, as you could say, is more of a talker for, right? He was an actor, whatever it is. So for me, you could say that I have more experience talking so for me to get up on a microphone and ask those questions is not difficult for me. However, that I got one to scratch off my card now, thanks to you. You know what I mean? But no, sitting there, right? I would be more comfortable sitting in the play-by-play seat. I'm sitting sort of as a color analyst next to Mike Perry describing the fighting. I'm not a fighter, So
that makes sense.
But one thing I want to tell you, you're so fucking interesting that I actually went and found the Portuguese broadcast so that I could, even though I can't understand your words, so I could listen to you broadcast. So how do you feel about that? I don't know what you're saying, but I literally went and found it so I could listen to you. And so what I will tell you, and I only listened to like 20 seconds because I truly don't speak the language, but bro, you're electric. So I sought that out.
I don't know. I just feel like, for me, when I'm trying to do something like this show or when I'm commentating, I just want to do stuff that I would like to watch. When I'm watching the fight, I like to laugh. So that's why I talk a lot of shit all the time. I was like trying to be funny, trying to engage with people because I think people needs to change that, especially on Brazil. They have a platform like ESPN Plus, right? When you guys do the commentating, they do that on Brazil too. It's called UFC Fight Pass Brazil. And I think the model is done the way they are doing. This is, I'm gonna get a lot of criticism about that, but they're trying to watch fights like they are analysts, you know? And to me, it's like politics, it's like journalism, it's change. With the social media, it's change. Nobody want to see a guy like just like playing by the book, you know? You want to watch a friend, you know? Somebody that you can relate, that's talking real shit. Yeah. That's not like you seeing a bad fight and whoa, oh my God.
I always think about, I don't know if Moicano knows this, but I know you do as a football guy, but everyone would say that Tony Romo is like a guy on the couch drinking a beer with you talking about the game, and that's why he's so good, like commentating and talking about the game. I just think people that be themselves are one of the guys so natural at it, like I think they crush it, bro. Like, I think people, and it's also evolving, right? Like, it's 2025. You see that the whole world has just changed with media and personalities, and like, just got to be yourself, bro. That's my biggest thing is be yourself. That's why I think Moicano crushes it on the pod, is because, like, if I always tell people, if me, Moicano, and Gilbert were sitting next to each other without any of this shit, we'd be having the same conversations.
Yes.
Nothing would be different.
Yes.
Like, maybe 1% would be different. Some things you have to be careful about. But in all seriousness, most everything would be the same. And I think you just have to be yourself. And I think you guys both do that very well.
Well, and Renato, Rogan would agree with you completely. He always talks about that they're all just professional fans, you know? And I think mixed martial arts lends itself to more of a casual broadcast anyway, because in other sports, it is a little bit, you know, like you could be sure, Renato, my brother, when he goes there, he can't just hang out and be funny and watch the fights. He has so many responsibilities that by the time that night ends, he's like, thank God. But the other two can. But I would also say, right, I'm never critical of broadcasting. I think all the people on the broadcast do a great job. But sometimes you have the benefit, right? Like Laura Sanko is going to be on the broadcast this weekend. I can't wait to listen to her describe the action on the ground because she's great. So there is some obligation, I think, for the color analysts to help the casual fans at home, the people like me who don't fight, who, you know, can figure out like what can Benoit Saint-Denis do as Renato is just destroying his face. That was fun, huh?
But in reality, I see what you're saying when you say I'm not a fighter, but who gives a fuck? Yeah. Like you say, man, do you want to talk about fighters and non-fighters? This guy is getting money. This motherfucker is making more money than 90% of the fighters betting. And I'm fucking losing, and I fight for 20 years, my brother. I have been training that shit for 20 years,
I'll tell you
and these guys know more than MMA than me.
I'll tell you one thing. First of all, you all know that I go on cold streaks too, so I got to get that out of the way with. Obviously, I'm on a heater right now.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
But I will say one thing right now. I'm going to say something that some fighters might not like, and this is a perfect transition because we do the Fighters versus Casuals segment on the Huma Fight Instagram. We're kicking your ass right now, but we're 4-1.
I have one criticism too.
Hold on, before you say that, let me just say this last thing. I think fighters picking fights is very difficult because you guys have so many biases in the back of your mind that you don't even realize, oh, I fought with this guy, I trained with this guy, I have a coach that coached this guy, I know this guy's a friend of my best friend. I'm telling you, there's so many biases in the back of your mind. And even now, for myself, I'm starting to get some of those biases because guys in my DMs, guests on this podcast, like, and you have to fight those biases and just look at it and say, like, bro, I spend 20, 25 hours a week on tape study for the fight. You know, like I'm trying to like not let biases take over.
Trying to make money.
I'm trying to make money for sure, but I'm also trying to make people money. And I'm telling you right now, there's no better feeling than when you're at the Hard Rock and people come up to you and like, yo, I just hit 13 grand this past weekend, betting your picks. And then on the flip side, there's no worse feeling than people losing their house, which I always tell people to bet responsibly, by the way, but people doing dumb shit and losing because of something I gave them too. So it's tough, but I do think fighters have biases. I don't know if you guys agree with that.
100%. But the criticism that I want to do is on the home of picks and the Fighters versus Casual, they are putting fights that I didn't bet, that I didn't say.
Yeah, but you don't bet on any fights.
No, I don't bet, but like
You're every week you guys pick other fights.
Every week you guys.
But I'm gonna tell you why we do that. So we try to keep it to like 5 or 6 fights that are somewhat competitive. We're not putting like a 6-1 favorite.
Yeah, but I didn't pick.
You picked Chris Duncan last week. You were the only one that,
but not Melly McCann. Not Melly McCann. and you guys put like Moicano say Molly McCann will
Oh,
win.
you didn't take her.
No,
saying.
I didn't take
got
her.
you.
That's
an
what I'm
error.
saying.
We'll fix your record then. We'll
Yeah,
we'll take that loss off your record. So
Yeah, brother.
All right. Well, I still want to talk about dirty boxing a little bit here. Moicano, I got to ask you: was Yoel Romero made in a lab?
100%, my brother. You have to remember, he was made on the times of Soviet Union, my brother. Back in the day, they used to try to build up like the perfect soldier and athlete. And brother, I think he's 5'7", right? 5'2".
Yeah, right. Probably about my size. No, 5'8", 5'9". About
say
no, not
5'2"?
you're certainly taller than he is.
I think he's 5'2".
No, my wife is 5'1". No, he's
not
no.
5'2",
I mean, he
bro.
looked 5'2" next to Rasquatch, the Jamaican Shamrock, that big dude who he fought. But no, he's
No,
probably
5'2". I mean, he's 52 years old, right?
Oh no, he's about
52.
to turn 48. But he's older than me,
48,
bro.
right?
He's
I
older
thought he
than
was-
me. Look at me.
That's dude.
No, but let me tell you something. He's still probably he's the most older athlete guy in the MMA, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
Like crazy, and the matchup was not like, was not the. How do I say that without in
The what was?
Well, I'll help you say. My brother talks about his problem with some of these other promotions as they're starting. And I love dirty boxing. I hope we can grow with it. But it's bouts of consequence, right? That when Yoel Romero is facing Ras Hilton, Rasquatch the Jamaican Shamrock, is Ras Hilton really in contention to what threat does he pose to Yoel Romero?
Yeah.
Romero. You also have Andre Arlovsky in the co-main event fighting Terrence Hodges with a 2-7 MMA record, right? Now Arlovsky had a nice elbow and then got another elbow through to cut him up, but right, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
whereas in some of the earlier events, where there was really bouts of consequence.
competitive fights,
exactly.
right? Yeah,
sure.
Bingo.
I think the same. Yeah, and I don't oppose that because it's a new show. They try to bring
just getting
names.
started.
It's in Miami, they want the show.
Yep.
And to be completely honest, I think it was a good show. If you look for the first show, having that much people, and I to be honest, I think the whole thing was good.
And do you guys think that like this sport, I guess, of dirty boxing, like can compete with like bare knuckle, karate combat, some of these other promotions? I know all of them are slightly different in their own way, but like, where do you think the sport will? Where do you think it has the potential to go to?
Well, I think that's where you'd want to slot it in. Those are good examples, right? And I want to ask you a question and get your thoughts on what you did watch of it and what you thought. But the rule set, I know you're a black belt. It's a different conversation. But the rule set where it's striking, but then elbows are allowed, right? You can do a little clinching. The dirty boxing, right? It is dirty boxing. But then to be able to ground and pound someone without putting a knee on the ground, but actually be able to stand up and ground and pound to the finish is the rule. So what do you think of the rule set?
I like it. I mean, I think you have to be different, right? So I think they're doing all these little nuances that make the sport different. So I like it. I think that for all these up and coming promotions, it's really about developing young talent and making them a part of it. Because all these organizations are going after retired MMA guys and stuff, and there's only so much lifespan to that guy. So like I think I like for example what Bare Knuckle's doing. They're like go to a bare knuckle fight at Hard Rock. Dude, guys that you don't know any name value to the average like combat sports fan, is still very exciting fights because guys are going to sleep in a round or two and you can hear the bare knuckles. And so like I think they're doing a very good job, and I think dirty boxing has the opportunity to do that as well. I will tell you guys one thing right now. You can tell me if I'm crazy, Moicano, but I swear to God, this is not just the gambler in me saying this in a biased way. I think the most important thing for any up-and-coming promotion or any up-and-coming sport is you have to penetrate the gambling markets because it makes your sport so much more popular. If I'm the CEO of Dirty Boxing or Bare Knuckle or any of these things, my number one emphasis is I'm going to DraftKings, I'm going to FanDuel, I'm going to the offshores, I'm going to Hard Rock, I'm going to all these places and saying, what do we have to do to get consistent lines and odds out? And then also method of victory props, like odds and lines out early in the week, not just, bro, do you know how hard it is to bet on even bare knuckle? It is hard to find lines, bro. You have to go to offshores. Sometimes the Hard Rock has it, sometimes it doesn't. If you're an up-and-coming sport in combat sports, you have to figure out ways to get all these books to carry your odds, because I can't tell you many people that I've got to become UFC fans this year just from betting on it that never bet on it. and now they're fans of the UFC. So and look at the NFL. The NFL is nothing without fantasy football and sports betting and parlays. It's nowhere near as popular. So I think that's my one piece of advice to any of these promotions is do everything you can to get gambling odds on it, because people that don't like gambling will hate on me for saying that, but I'm telling you right now, it makes the sport more popular.
Way more popular, brother. And let me tell you something. I wish I could bet. I just wish I could bet. I can't, but
Yeah.
I don't know if UFC will ever
When
let
you're
us.
retired, you're going to bet, right?
What?
When you're retired?
100%. Because it's like you say, like on the chat, when I was doing the commentary, everybody was asking, where to bet? Because it makes so much fun to bet.
It's so fun, bro.
Even if it's like little money, it's so much better to
Yeah.
watch fights when you
got
bet.
skin in the game.
You get skin in the game, exactly.
Yeah.
So, and how that works, Matty? I didn't know about that. Like how they choose which event's going to have betting or not. Do you know?
It's based off of popularity and a lot of different factors. Obviously, the more mature sports. I mean, UFC is still a very immature market. That's why a lot of people are able to find edges. Like, good luck beating the NFL Sunday morning. If you go to bet the NFL game slate on a Sunday morning, those are the most tight odds you could ever imagine. There's zero edges. Guys bet early in the week for a reason. UFC is different, bro. Like, I'm not even a money line type of bettor in the UFC. I like betting, as you guys know, submission props, decisions, KOs, round props, all these different things. Those odds don't even come out till Thursday of every week, usually, sometimes Wednesday. But yeah, to answer Moicanos' question, like UFC is still not as mature as a market as it needs to be. Sometimes some of these sports books, when it's a shit card, they won't even post lines until like Friday or like if it's not a pay-per-view or a good card, like it's kind of disrespectful.
But I'm asking because you say like they have to figure out a way to put the lines. So if they say, hey, I have that much people watching, how like objectively you can put
how do they cross over to that? Because the commission, there's the commission there, the athletic commission there. It's a commission event, and it really is interesting. You think about, Mike Perry did get called out by Yuli Monster Diaz, who he knows well, right? So he gets called out. Now, if Mike Perry is fighting on DBX2 because he's more relevant than Yoel or Andrei Arlovsky, is there perhaps a line on that fight?
So the offshores are definitely going to carry it. So when you look at like the Bet Onlines, the Bovadas of the world, I think they'll carry it. We'll see how long it takes for a Hard Rock or a FanDuel or DraftKings to carry some of these things. So it just comes down to, I think they need to be aggressive and talk to executives and figure out ways to get it done, or at least push the conversation forward so it gets done sooner than later. But let's talk to some of this UFC London card.
No,
boys.
but before I still want to talk about the rules.
Go ahead.
I still want to talk about the rules because like you were mentioning, the Andrei Arlovsky fight, like you say, the guy was not the best fighter in the world, his opponent, right, with a negative record, but the elbows and the way he beat the guy was very impressive to me, to be honest.
Bingo.
Because one thing I think is funny, sometimes I watch boxing and I think boxing is boring, but if you add the elbows, it's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Because if you cannot take it down and you can elbow somebody in the face, that's just change the games.
Yeah.
The way he did, like elbow, and then elbow and cross. That was beautiful. Bro.
No question about it.
You can't elbow and bare knuckle, right?
No.
Okay, so that's why that's probably the main differentiation.
And I will say, the pilot that they did in November, there weren't a ton of elbows used, and I feel as though they took a big step. Like, the guys were actively throwing it. And I would say to you, right, obviously you have a mixed martial arts skill set, but like training elbows. I'm so curious to know how you train elbows, or, because we talk a lot about elbows being underutilized in the UFC too.
Yes, exactly. Elbow, you have to have a elbow pad and throw at sparring, but it's hard to do on an MMA fight because you have clinch and you don't want to, but in a boxing match, the elbow is going to be there all the time because there is no takedowns. You all the time going to be in the clinch. One thing that I didn't like too much was in some fights, the referee was letting the guys on the clinch too much, because they put MMA fighters and sometimes the guys say, hey, I cannot hold with this guy on
That's
the
a great point.
So I gonna I can wrestle, and there was a fight that the guy even took the shoot for the takedown for the double leg.
Yeah.
And so the fight will be on the clinch a lot, and on the clinch we'll have a lot of elbows. So I like the rule set. The only thing that was missing was like when they were in the clinch, the knees. But
yeah.
you know, if they add knees, like no kicks but knees, I think would be nice. What do you think? What do you guys think?
I mean, then
But then it's not more
then
boxing,
it's not
right?
dirty boxing at that point. You know, I like the elbows, right? Because that's like still a part of your your arms and your limbs. But at
That's
some
really
point,
interesting, Hanato. I like that. I think that's worth discussing because it's not kicks. Kicks changes everything. Calf kicks, high kicks changes the whole game. It's Muay Thai. It's a whole different conversation. But knees, right? Because the reason I think it's very interesting because the whole point about the ground and pound to finish. The reason they want ground and pound in it is because if you knock someone down, they want you to be able to fucking finish them on the ground. And so the knees to the point in the clinch. I think Perry would open his eyes and at least want to have that conversation. I think that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting, and it's funny because they took like everything from boxing, and in my opinion, they make it better because boxing. What I think is fucked up about boxing is sometimes knock down, and then they count to 10 and make the guy fight again. That's fucking.
That
like
to
power
me,
slam.
to me, boxing is the most dangerous sport. But then we could go on and on about
Yeah, I know.
this.
You want to talk about your money, baby? Show me the money. Let's go.
I want to talk about UFC London in general. First of all, I know you guys had a busy weekend, so were you guys
I watched
able
all
to
the
see?
fights.
You saw all of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not on Saturday, but on Sunday.
Okay. Were you able to see any of them?
So I watched some of Leon Edwards, Sean
Yeah.
Brady on Pahumpa's, his broadcast partner's cell phone.
Yeah.
I watched a little bit, but
Yeah.
you know I host a podcast with Belal, remember the name Muhammad, the champion. So I was very much looking forward to watching his
Yeah.
former two victims compete. But no, we were focused on the dirty boxing. So I saw
sure.
bits and pieces, but go ahead.
Yeah. No. So I'll kind of recap the main event. Right. First of all, Leon Edwards had never been put away by submission before in his career. I think that's why we were able to get such a crazy number on Sean Brady to win by submission. We got plus 425 odds on it. I'll tell you what, though. I think Sean Brady is going to look back and be like, that Belal loss was good for him because this is a 2.0 Sean Brady. Now, is it enough to beat Belal? That's to be determined, right? I know Moicano was saying earlier, he doesn't think anyone's beaten Belal.
No.
I agree with that for the most part. I do think that Brady looks way better than he did in that fight, obviously. But Belal's just such a bad matchup for Sean because, Sean's boxing looks a lot better, but at the same time, if you can't get takedowns on Belal, it's like, can he really win that fight? So that's the first thing. But we have to talk about how good Sean Brady looked in that fight. This is a guy that went 2 fights with Kamaru Usman. Usman never ragdolled Leon Edwards the way that Sean Brady did in this fight, bro. He just didn't, And the one thing I've always said that Sean Brady's so good at, we talked about this in the last episode, is when he does get you to the ground, I don't know if there's anyone better in the sport at that control time, keeping you down and staying on top and working for submissions. He looks for that Kimura off to the side. He always looks for that. He got that, what was it, a mounted guillotine? What would you call that?
What's a mounted
guillotine, which ended up getting the finish. You guys know I bet that Kimura at 16-1.
You beat
He
him?
went for it once or twice, dude. I was freaking out and he didn't get it, but he ended up getting that mounted guillotine. But I just think that we have to give him props for how good he looked in this fight. And I want to get your guys' opinion in general in the welterweight division, right? Because this division's very interesting now. You have guys like Joaquin Buckley who have arguments for title shots, as well as Shavkat, as well as Sean Brady just from this last weekend. And then also, you have to give props to Ian Gary for how close that Shavkat fight. I mean, Ian Gary had Shavkat's back, and had a rear naked choke almost completed. It was unbelievable. So what do you guys make of this division right now? Like, who would you, as a good friend of Belal, who would you like to see after this fight, assuming he beats Jack Della? Who do you think is most deserving next?
It's a great conversation, and I would never assume a victory for my guy over Jack Della Maddalena. But I'll back it up a second and just talk about Leon Edwards for a second, right?
What you mean by that?
Meaning that Belal Muhammad, who's my guy, we've talked a lot, he's not defending a belt, right? It's a whole new experience. He and Jack Della Maddalena are going into that building both trying to compete for the same thing.
It's not going to be easy for Belal. Let me tell you something, brother.
Hey, I hope you're right. Yeah. But let me just back it up for a second. If you're Leon Edwards getting ready to face Jack Della Maddalena in London, and then you get that phone call, right? That's who he was supposed to face. Hey, sorry, Leon. Jack Della Maddalena is going to fight Belal Muhammad in the main event. We got a new opponent for you, Sean Brady, right? No fucking thank you if I'm Leon Edwards. And a lot of people picked Leon and liked Leon in this fight. I was not one of them, right? So what I will say about Sean Brady, certainly I think he may have to compete one more time before fighting for the belt just because of how it's gotten a little bit oddly clogged at the top there.
Yep.
But in terms of the champion, Belal Muhammad, and yes, I am biased, but Kenny Florian said when the matchup was against Shavkat Rakhmonov, Belal can figure out a way to beat that guy. And that's the thesis statement for everyone that I see would show up in his bracket. He can figure out a way to beat that guy. So ultimately, not looking past Jack Della Maddalena. In this sport, you know, anyone can catch anyone at any time. Yeah. But do I like the matchup for Belal? Is Belal ready to fight tomorrow? Is he in shape to fight tomorrow? Yes. Yeah. So nobody works harder. And, you know, what I'll say to you, Renato, Belal has worked so hard to improve every skill incrementally every year, right? To become better each and every time. So if you go watch him, you know, Jeff Neal was his last loss. Go watch how tough Belal was and go watch. Belal hates me bringing this up, but you talk about the Sean Brady loss to Belal, I think can do wonders. If you're asking me today who I think the toughest matchup for Belal is right now, I do think it is Sean Brady, right? I think because I think that's sort of a matchup there.
I think it's easy money for Belal.
So who do you think? Go ahead. Who do you think's the toughest matchup at welterweight for Belal? Ian Gary?
I don't know if he is, but I hope he is Carlos Prates. I want to see Carlos Prates fighting for the belt because he's a fucking monster and he smokes cigarettes. What's better than this, man?
I love it. You know what's so funny? So I believe Carlos Prates fought Charlie Radke.
Yes.
And then he went over and talked some shit to Belal in the corner right there.
Man.
You know, and Belal is just like, you know, whatever it is. But no, it's really interesting to see what is going to happen there. But you know, but as you, Renato, I remember being in your kitchen before you were ready to fight Benoit Saint-Denis, and you can be sure that man was on your mind until you know, bludgeoned him, right? So Belal's thinking about Jack Della Maddalena every day and how he's going to sort of operate to beat him. But if but like Joaquin Buckley, right? And Joaquin Buckley has gone to train with Belal in Chicago a little bit, and there's only so much I can divulge about that. But I think Joaquin.
No, you can go a little further.
Well, I don't think.
Tell us.
I appreciate you pushing me. I don't think Joaquin Buckley necessarily loves to wrestle all day long, right? He's certainly strong and can do some stuff on the ground. But you don't think Belal will be prepared to handle whatever explosive power is coming back in that spot? Anyway,
that would fit if Buckley comes out and I like Buckley. I'll be honest. I used to like the whole dynamic of him and Gilbert. I was like, oh, this guy talks so much. But Buckley, I've become a fan of Buckley.
Yeah,
I'll tell you
too.
one thing though. He's one of those guys that's so muscular though that if he wrestles too many rounds of Belal, he's gonna fatigue in my opinion. So I don't think that's, you know, but I do think he's physical enough that he can stuff some takedowns against
Carlos Prates. I'm telling you, and UFC is behind him. You know, they're gonna give him the good matchups to get to the. You know, it's like Topuria, right? I know I diverging a little bit over here, but when UFC chooses somebody to get behind, you know. And when they get to the belt, they can do anything almost, you know. It was like Sean Malley too. So I think UFC is behind Carlos Prates, and I think that's going to be a tough fight for Belal because of the distance and the knockout power. But other than that, I see Belal.
Let me ask you guys one by one.
Over wrestling everybody.
Let me ask you guys one by one. Let's go through. I'm glad you brought up Carlos Prates because that dude is an absolute. He's one of my favorite fighters to watch, and he's up and coming in this division for sure.
I just like that you think Belal's still going to be champion by the time Carlos gets his shot.
I think so. I'm telling this. I think he beats Jack Della Maddalena. I think stylistically it's a good matchup. Yeah. I think he beats Shakivac because I think Shakivac is overrated, and I think
thing I've ever heard.
And I think that's why. Everybody say, Ian Gary took his back. Ian Gary is not very good at grappling. We know that. We saw that with Michael Venom Page.
Hey, he's been working with Charles, though.
Yeah, but you cannot learn
He's
wrestling.
gotten better, bro.
No, of course, he got better. But you have to get like the timing, right?
I get it, yeah.
It's not that much, you know? So I think people don't like Belal. You know, I don't know why.
I'm gonna run through these. I'm gonna run through the rankings. So Sean Brady is the number one contender right now. So I'm gonna ask you guys. I'm going to go start with Moicano, then go to Jason. Belal Muhammad versus Sean Brady.
I think he beat Sean Brady.
One answer. One word, no explanation. Ready? Belal versus Sean.
That's who?
Belal versus Sean Brady.
Belal Muhammad.
Belal.
Belal versus Shavkat.
He's his friend. He's going to tell everybody.
You just stay over there.
You don't need the answer. You don't need to answer.
This is for the Instagram clip, boys.
Okay.
Belal versus Shavkat.
Shavikat. Oh, no. Belal, I'm
you
sorry.
just love saying his name, bro. How do you pronounce it again?
Shavikat. Hakimai Chod.
All right. Well, I'll stay with Moicano then. Belal versus Leon if it happened again.
Belal Muhammad.
Belal versus Kamaru.
Belal. I think he beats everybody on this division.
Belal versus Jack Della.
Belal.
Belal versus Buckley.
Belal.
All right. This is the only one then that might get you is Belal versus Carlos Prates in 2 years. Who wins?
I think Carlos Prates.
So you think that's the real threat to him long term?
I think because, you know, the problem with Sean Brady, he was talking about Sean Brady being like, they're gonna nullify each other on the wrestling, and Belal is better at striking than Sean Brady. Sean Brady needs to evolve.
Yeah.
That's why I think to beat Belal Muhammad now, you have to have a good distance, a good size, be tall, keep it on the range, you know? Because cardio-wise, like you're saying, we saw his training. He doing the conditioning. Nobody works harder than him. So I think, like, right now, where he's at, out-wrestling him is not going to be an option. So you need to knock him out. That's
Right.
what I think.
Yeah.
And maybe it's because I want another Brazilian to have the shot to the belt.
Yeah.
But I think Carlos Prates is a solid guy to beat Belal.
I'll tell you
Muhammad.
what, I remember Dana saying, a reporter asked Dana, like, if they're talking about, like, Carlos Prates, he's like, you know how they do Tuesdays for matchmaking? He's like, we talk about Carlos Prates on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays. He's like, we talk about this guy all the time, you know? So I know that guy is definitely going to get his shot within the next couple of years, I would imagine.
That
So
team just the way
Insane,
they're all
bro.
evolving together. What's it, Ohio and John Silva, all that, right? I mean, it's
we
just
always
unbelievable.
talk about, we're like, how do you even rank these guys like internally as a team? Because some weeks we're like, oh, John Silva's the best. Some weeks it's like, dude, look what Mauricio Rufy. Rufy might just be the
I
best.
didn't even mention Rufy.
It's unbelievable. Like,
And I
all
want
of
to
them are
talk
so
about that.
good.
I wanted to talk about that because I think the Brazilians, of course, you guys don't speak Portuguese, so I was watching a podcast of Rufy yesterday,
Yeah.
and I think they understand the game because Rufy said, I don't give a fuck about rankings.
Right.
And back in the day, people, I
saw
want to
that.
be ranking, I want to be, and he say, I realize performance talk louder than rankings or anything, you know.
Facts.
So if you have a good performance, you can choose who you fighting next. And basically, is it. This number don't mean shit.
Yeah.
Don't mean shit. UFC is a business. They want money. They want and people want to watch performance. No matter if you're good at the mic, you have to deliver it too,
Yeah,
right?
that's
Or
true.
you have to be so good like Belal Muhammad, you know.
Yeah.
It's
That
two
they just
things.
can't deny
Undeniable.
you.
Yeah,
Exactly.
undeniable. You have to fight 8 times to get the belt, and you have to work hard. But
Yeah.
if you have a good performance like that, UFC 100% gonna push you to the title.
Facts. Before we move on from this main event, I do want to talk about Leon for a little bit. It's interesting, like, you know how it is, Moicano. Like, you have this great run in the UFC. You lose
Not
once
that
or-
much.
you
Not
lose-
that much.
But I'm saying in general, you guys
Brother,
have-
pay the bills. This
I'm
is
saying-
not important.
I'm saying guys in general that have great runs in the sport, they lose once or twice, and people like, you know, kick them when they're low. So I want to hear your guys' opinion because a lot of people are saying that Leon was never that good or this or that. You know, actually on the On Paper pod with Anthony Smith, they brought on Dean Thomas. I'm gonna quote him, and he said he didn't want to be disrespectful. He said, "I don't want to be disrespectful for Leon,
But this
He
guy
was-
sucks."
He was a great champion, still top 5 material, but I think that Leon in his heart isn't a real true fighter. I say that in terms of Gaethje, Poirier. These guys will fight you in a parking lot. I think Leon is a performer. He's creative. He probably beats everyone in the gym. Super magical. But is he really a true fighter? So what is your take on that?
My take on this is that's not the first time that he's saying that, and I like Dean Thomas. He used
Yeah, I
to
do
coach
too.
here in America Top Team, but I think he said the same thing about fucking Sean Strickland. I think he said the exactly same thing.
Was that him?
I think it was him. So I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Who you think you are to call people fighter or not? You know.
Yeah.
I don't care if you call somebody is bad, but if you have like plus 10 fights on UFC, how can you not be a fighter? You know.
You all have different paths, right? You've been in the promotion 11 years, and you still have a chance to. You just competed for the belt just now, right? I think
Occasionally.
But no, and I still think that isn't necessarily a hiccup. I think you can make another run. I'd like to see you get Beneil Dariush, but everybody has a different. However you become champion or whatever your sort of career is like in the UFC, it's all different, right? You don't think Poirier or Gaethje would trade their interim belt for Leon's belt, and he defended it a couple times. So
That's
regardless of what you think about him as a fighter,
Yeah.
what he put on paper, and whether you think it was a Hail Mary with the head kick of Usman or not,
Yeah.
it happened. He hoisted the belt, and I do believe defending, and that's why when we talk about Belal's opportunity to win another belt, not defend it, because getting that second one is enormous, right? So So what Leon has, I think it's going to reflect good. He had a nice long winning streak. I believe this is the first time he was finished. But in
Right.
terms of being married to the game and being a fighter's fighter, you're all different, right? Justin Gaethje never been a street fight in his life, right? So they're all wired differently, you know? So
That's true.
And
I think you said that perfectly.
And perfect. I think you say that perfectly. But to be honest, as far as criticism, I think is valid. You know, I think the fans and even Dean Thomas has the right to say this guy was never that good. That guy is not good. This guy is not good at champion. But calling him not a fighter, saying that he's not a fighter, that he doesn't have, I think it's a little bit of disrespectful. You know, but it is what it is. Everybody has their own opinions. True. And as far as what you're saying, because if you win 10 fights in UFC and you lost one, people are going to call you bad. People are going to call you bad names, going to say, and it's just part of the game you have to get used to.
I will say, being around this game as long as I have, and especially as long as my brother has, the respect for what you all do is so undying and always there that I could never utter a statement like that. And I consider Dean Thomas a close friend of mine, right? But the respect of what, you know, is Leon Edwards at this point, you know, did he want to be in there maybe after a while with Sean Brady? Maybe not, right? Maybe not. But there are plenty of times where he wanted to be in there, and you can be sure he's put in a lot of work over the last 20 years or whatever.
Right. Hey, Leon Edwards, he barely landed strikes after the first round. You got to give the guy credit for lasting to halfway through the fourth round. Yes. Like, because that was as hard as a matchup as it gets. So let's kind of move down the card here before we move on to this weekend's card. What other fights interest you, Moicano? We have the co-main was Blachowicz and Olberg.
That was a robbery.
You thought so?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a
It was
robbery.
very close.
And that was calculated, my brother.
Yeah.
They don't want to see Blachowicz fighting for the belt again, brother.
Yeah.
Those scorecards were literally couldn't have been more diverse, if I'm not
the
mistaken.
whole card, the decisions were so controversial, starting with the prelims all the way up, bro. It's at a point where you just can't trust judges, dude. Like, you have to get finishes if you're an MMA fighter. Like,
But that's tough. Sometimes
I
it's
know.
very tough.
I agree.
You know?
Let me ask you a quick question, right? Nathaniel Wood, just Sharia, right? Sharia, I want to say open, minus 170, minus 180. That line closed tremendously. Any thoughts on that? Were you on? You were on Wood.
I had Nathaniel Wood. My buddy Austin and I, who works for FanDuel, and we have a show every Thursday night where we go through every fight on the card and break them down. We love Nathaniel Wood in that spot at plus money. Sharia he's good, but he's a guy that was 20-10 in his MMA record. He loses quite a few decisions, and Nathaniel Wood is very technical, very good defensively. He's just a very good fighter overall. So we love the plus money there, and we were able to get it done. And he was up 2-0 going into that third round, I thought. So I thought it was a very clear win for him in that fight. Were you able to see that one?
No, that was the only one that I didn't see.
We got to talk about your boy, Chris Duncan. I got to shout him out. I've been DMing him back and forth here the last couple of days. He's like, brother, you would have made a killing on me. I was like, so I didn't bet you specifically, but I took the under of 2.5 rounds in his fight, and I won big on that. I knew that fight was going to be violence. We talked about that fight on the pod, how that fight was not going the distance. How good is this guy's guillotine, bro?
Very good.
Yeah,
Very good.
it's
Because
unbelievable.
if you watch on the tape, he was not even like trying hard. Did you see that?
Yeah.
He was like looking and like he has a very, very good guillotine.
Yeah.
And he's a striker with a lot of power. So
Yeah.
And he's working on his wrestling. He took the guy down a couple times before he got the guillotine, right?
Right.
He got the guy tired.
Well, and the first round, he timed a kick and then a punch at the same. It was back to back like that.
Yeah.
And got a knockdown. Vucenic is a guy that people were really high on, and Chris Duncan was like a 3-1 underdog. Came out, made it look easy. He almost got the finish a minute into the fight, puts him away in the second round. I think this is a guy that's kind of got the Moicano path going on. Like, he's entertaining. He's got good personality. He's got good finishing ability. He's got to start doing this a little bit more and get the UFC to push him, because I think he is real upside, bro.
Chris Duncan, right? Yes, and he lives in Europe, right?
He's a funny guy, too. I
In
like
London
him.
and stuff. And like back in last year, I think he was still working as a personal trainer or something like that.
Right.
So sometimes it's tough, you know. Maybe he doesn't have the time to do the podcast and to do all that stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know how the money is, you know. It's tough to be a fighter and to get to this
I get
level
it, yeah.
and to just train, you know. But before all that, I want to talk about the 155 division. Did you watch Guran? He was dominated by the Brazilian guy. Dominated, bro.
Biggest favorite on the card. Looked like he should have been 3-1 dog. Like,
yes.
First fight of the night.
And
dude, he had Hamzat and Topuria in his corner.
Wow.
And he got destroyed, bro.
He got destroyed. Imagine this guy today, brother. He's feeling like a piece of shit. But let me tell you something. That's the problem with 155. I remember a couple years ago when he went to the UFC for the first time, everybody was saying, this is the next Khamzat Chimaev. This is the guy. This is... Brother, this division is so competitive.
So good,
guys that people say, this guy's going to be champion. They don't last 2-3 years in the UFC.
It's
you know,
insane.
so put some respect on Manny Moicano's name, my brother.
Yes.
I have been on this
Facts.
game for 11 years, always fighting the best.
Yeah.
I lost. I come short on the last fight, but whoever gets this next gonna be in trouble. Okay, Dariush? See you soon. See you soon, boy. See you soon.
Bro, when is that fight, dude? I can't wait for it. We're gonna go to Montreal. I know you're gonna be there. I can't wait for that. Gilbert's on the card. Bilal's on the card. You gonna come with us, bro?
I'm sorry, but I have to talk about that, brother. I know I keep interrupting you, guy, but I love this fucking game. I love UFC, brother. And Gilbert Burns, as much I am hating him lately, you know. Like last couple podcasts, he's been pushing me, brother. He's trying to make me look bad, you know. He's stealing my picanha. But how good is Gilbert Burns, my brother?
Right.
How good? Sean Brady, he fought all the killers on the division.
Yeah.
Even Belal, he was with bad injury or something like that on the shoulder. So, man,
Look what he did against Khamzat Chimaev.
Exactly.
It's
Go ahead.
unbelievable. It's
Exactly. So
unbelievable.
Gilbert Burns, brother, I'm feeling pretty confident on his next fight.
Yeah,
I think he's
be
going
a
to be the
huge dog.
underdog. He's going to be the underdog.
3-1.
And I'm gonna talk to my brother over here to put some money aside, right? What do you think? You want to go to the jail? Inside information, my
Hey,
brother.
I got lots of fighters that want to get some money down. I'll tell them the same thing. The answer is no. I'm not getting in trouble. But
Officially
Gilbert
no, but on
Burns-
the DMs,
Gilbert Burns could be dog of the year, bro. He's already plus 300, I think. Very hard fight. Let's not sugarcoat it. Very good striker. He's fighting good Ecuadorian wrestling apparently too.
brother, that doesn't exist, my brother.
It doesn't
Ecuador-
exist?
No, no.
Come on, bro. Don't be
No.
disrespectful.
No, I'm not being disrespectful. Have you seen somebody from that part of the world on the Olympics wrestling?
He's very good wrestling too, apparently. You don't think?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, we'll see. He's a big guy, good striking.
He's a good fighter, don't get me wrong.
Both him and Gilbert put Neil Magny away in the first round. That's going to be a great fight. But I'll tell you one thing. You already know we're riding with Gilbert. 3-1 odds is a lot of fucking...
When is the fight?
next
That's
month,
May
right?
10th.
Or May.
Or May 10th, May 12th, somewhere
About
in there.
6 weeks or so, I think. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. 5 or 6 weeks. so-
I'm like Joe Rogan. I'm not going to the Canada, my brother.
That's hilarious. He'd rather, Joe Rogan said he'd rather go to Russia.
Yeah, I'd rather be in Russia than
Oh,
go to
God.
Canada, my brother.
Hey, I have to go, bro. We have to go. We have to go to that fight.
You know what? The amount of money he gonna pay in taxes? I'm not even kidding, brother.
Yeah.
He gonna
Yeah, that's a
fucking pay-
different tax bill.
Yeah,
you're
that's
correct.
a different tax. bill.
Yeah. All right, before we move on, we got to talk about Molly McCann and Alexia Tainara. That was the fight that I hit on the submission. Could not believe the odds on that. What did you think about Molly McCann's run in the UFC in general, Moicano? Because
I will be really completely honest with you.
Always
I think her speech was perfect.
I love
You know,
it.
I respect. Back in the day,
loved
I
it.
used to think, oh no, she's just in the UFC because Patty, you know. But the way she talked made me a fan of her. You
I
know,
agree.
You know, because once you go over there and be real, and she say, hey, if I cannot compete with somebody that just got in UFC the last week,
Yeah.
I'm not here for a paycheck. You know, and I
was
think
real stuff
that
right
was real, and I love it.
She's unbelievable. I don't know if anyone's won more in the promotion and won less actually in the octagon. I mean, she is just infectious, right? Everyone who has met her loves her. And Patty Pimblett, who I really like a lot. I've gotten to know her a
Don't
little
tell
bit.
this, my brother, on my podcast.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Not
Hey,
trying to
you
be
may find a way to
disrespectful
fight
here.
him, right? But he comes from the heart in terms of how he feels about her. You know, when he was fighting, she's in the back drinking whiskey, comes out, hops the cage,
Yeah.
right? And hammered, you know. So she's just such a character. And I also have a lot of respect for her for sort of trying to make that second run and cutting down to a different weight class and sort of putting in that work. I'll never forget forget Erin Blanchfield on top of her, just making her look like she didn't belong in the big show. But Molly McCann, she made us some unbelievable food when we were in Manchester. I couldn't even eat because I was so nervous about Belal's fight with Leon, but we know how that ended. Anyway, but hey, let me just ask you one thing real quick. As you went through all those guys that you think Belal will beat, there were rumblings a couple months back that maybe Islam would move up to 170. So you know a little bit about Islam. How would you handicap a fight between Islam Makhachev and Belal Muhammad?
I don't know. That's a tough fight. And I know Belal Muhammad is always trying to be humble. And he say, hey, Islam beat me on the training. I don't want to fight him. I think he said that, right? Do you guys remember that?
I don't remember him saying he beat. I just know that he.
I don't want to fight him because I'm going to lose.
That they're all brothers and they train together, which I respect that. I never understood how people hate on people for that. Like Aljo and Marab, dude. That's a brotherhood right there. Stop saying, oh, if you should want the belt, you should fight him. This is the sport of fighting. I don't agree with that. I think if you train with guys and you're very, very close with them, I mean, would you want to fight Gilbert for the belt?
If the money's right,
well, so the thing is, though, right? But the thing is, right? The Aljo Marab thing is a little bit of a different conversation, right? I really think it is.
Close
right?
friends, right?
Yeah, and in a different way. I mean, right? You know what I mean? It's like, with respect, how long have you known Gilbert as a friend? Right?
Yeah, last couple of years.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? So, but what I'll say about Belal and Islam, right? I don't think Belal is jumping, but he's got an opponent on the books, right? And he has more work to do, I think, and more upcoming guys that deserve the spot. Yeah. He's not going to call the Khabib camp out and Islam Makhachev, but if you think that he would not be open to fighting Islam, you're out of your mind. Really? He would welcome anyone who wants to come through at 170, and you could be sure he would love at some point to hop up to 185. But, you know, you got to handle your business first.
Yeah. Do you think the 85, it's a 15-pound jump?
He's too small for.
Do you think he's big enough?
So, I guess the short answer, I would never doubt my guy, but I agree. I think he's in the right weight class. You know what I mean? I think he walks around 88, 89. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But he's talked a lot of shit about Dricus du Plessis, and I'm not here talking that shit, but yeah, does Belal think he could beat Dricus du Plessis at 85 when Sean Strickland was the champ? Do you think Belal thinks he could beat Sean Strickland at 85? Yeah. You can be sure. And not cutting weight, what, you're going to cut 3-4 pounds, right? That's appealing in a certain way. But Belal's in Ramadan right now, training as if he's not in Ramadan, and, in the shape of his life.
He's really doing the whole thing? Like training and not eating, not drinking?
Oh, yeah. He's,
Not like Ankalaev, because Ankalaev was kind of, right?
Well, and I honestly, if Belal was fighting, but if Belal was fighting, Ankalaev, who was fighting during Ramadan, right? He hydrated and he was going to do, I guess, that fight week at the end of Ramadan. I guess that's okay. But if Belal was fighting during Ramadan, he ain't doing that at the end.
I respect that a lot.
He's built different.
That's impressive.
But yeah, he's got to get through Jack, and then we'll be able to talk some more smack.
That's impressive. All right, we gotta get on the UFC Mexico. We got so much to cover on this card. Before we move on, we got to give a special shout out to our guy, Hey Jive Picks at Home of Fight Picks. This dude is the most consistent MMA handicapper I've ever seen, 3 years in a row winning. He is now up over 25 units just in 2025. If you guys go on the Home of Fight Picks winnable, we'll put it in the YouTube description. Use code SHOWME. You'll get this entire weekend free of all of his picks sent right to your phone. Let's talk through UFC Mexico. Let's go right to the main event, boys. I'm so pumped for this main event because
really
I am, because I'm a big Brandon Moreno fan. And I like that he took time off. He came back, looked incredible in his last fight. He is now a minus 210 favorite over Steve Erceg here as the plus 210 underdog. The reason those odds are like that is betopenly.com. Shout out to those guys. Peer-to-peer sports betting. You guys get the best lines and odds. That link is in our description as well. But let's talk through this because Moreno had bounced back from a few bad split decision losses, right? Where he was dominant as far as the significant strikes, right? He has a 60% striking defense, a granite chin. He's very well-rounded as an MMA fighter. Steve Erceg is a guy that, got knocked out by Kai Kara France, but also has looked very good in some of his other fights. I'm going to go to you first, Jason. What do you think about the main event? Do you like Moreno here? And what do you think his path is, if so?
Renato, I would never say who I like. And I know you say, it doesn't matter that you're not a fighter. You could be a gambler, right? But I really do trust fighters, right? And I have yet to hear from any fighters that I talk to that like Steve Erceg in this spot. It was plus 150 yesterday. I saw it plus 175 earlier today. I sometimes like MMA math to kind of go the other way. I like Usyk in this spot. I like the size. I like him to bounce back. I think he's had a couple uninspired performances. I look for him to be inspired here. If I'm not mistaken, there was a couple fights back. Brandon Moreno looked somewhat uninspired in Mexico. This is his 10th straight main event, 10th straight 5-round fight for Brandon Moreno. How many fighters are just constantly training for championship camps? Other than John Jones, Israel Adesanya, these guys defending over and over again. But I like the value. I hate that term value, Maddie, when I'm talking MMA, but I see a little bit of value on Usyk as the bigger man with some power in his hands to sort of have a good fight week and be ready. A lot of guys get championship opportunities maybe at the right or wrong time. I'm not sure Usyk was quite ready when he got it, but I still think he has a mountain to climb. So maybe I lean Usyk here, but you can be sure I'm not running to the window to put a bunch of money against Brandon Moreno.
For sure. I like that. What do you think in this matchup?
I'm gonna copy him.
So you guys are both on the dog here. I'm going Brandon Moreno as my pick. Look, if Brandon Moreno loses, it's by decision. This guy just is so durable. You know, it's funny. We didn't even talk. We were talking about our top 5 chins in the UFC, our last episode. So we had, in no specific order, it was Vettori, it was Chito Vera, it was
Pedro Munoz.
Pedro Munoz.
That's
more.
hilarious.
Now I gotta look.
I mean, dude,
But
that's
Brandon
hilarious.
Moreno's probably in the top 8 or 10, I would say.
But you have to take the division in
Pound
consideration.
for pound, though, you have to look at it in a pound for pound standpoint.
Man, 185, there is a lot of knockout artists
look and
on
see
this
one.
division.
How about the chin on BSD when Renato Moicano in Paris, France? Well, I mean, jeez.
That's old news, my bro.
No, see, I brought it up twice. It's not old news. What do you want me to tell you? Know, I can talk about Benny Dariush.
Brother.
I gotta find these chins again. I want to tell Jason them. I gave you guys 3 of them. Who are the other 2, Moicano?
I don't fucking remember, brother. But there is no way Moreno has a better chin than Vettori, right?
I mean,
That's recency with this
pound for
Vittori stuff a
pound,
little bit.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, my point is, I think Moreno's a top 10 chin in the UFC. Guy's never been pulled away. Never really been hurt. Have you seen Moreno been hurt? Has he ever been knocked down? Let's see if he's ever been knocked down. I guess Pantoja got one knockdown on him. I think that's the only time he's been knocked down in the UFC.
That's the problem, you know, with
Twice.
the batting.
2016, he was knocked down once, and then Pantoja once. The guy's never really been hurt that badly in the UFC, bro. So I get Steve Usyk has good reach. He's got good pop in his shots, but I'm going to trust the chin of Moreno and the volume of Moreno to get it done. And I think he's the better grappler, just barely.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think there are a lot of paths for Brandon Moreno if he's smart about this.
Yeah, it's a great fight, though. Great matchup. So let's move on here. Co-main event.
That's
I think easy fight of the night, right?
That's a fucking fight, my brother.
Manuel Torres versus Drew Dober in very close to a pick'em here. I think Manuel Torres is becoming a little bit wider of a favorite here in the last few days. Before Manuel Torres fought Belal's partner here, Ignacio Bahamondes, who looks like an absolute savage right now. Torres had won 4 in a row before that fight, right? He averages 7 strikes a minute. He has an 88% takedown defense. And he himself lands 2 takedowns per fight, which that could be a path against Drew Dober in a way if he needs to go there. Dober's a guy that is insanely durable, but his chin has been cracked a couple times now. He is starting to age a little bit. We know about how powerful that left hand is. He's 11 KO wins and he has 9 submission wins. What do you guys like in this matchup? Very close fight.
I like Drew Dober as like you guys saying, the value of Drew Dober as an underdog on a fight that will be a striking match.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think Torres is as good as Jean Silva, as technical as Jean Silva, that he can keep up on the striking, and you know that's going to be a brawl. And every time there is a brawl, I think Drew Dober has a good chance. And being the underdog, I think there is value on that.
What do you think?
God, everyone's like Manuel Torres, I think, in a lot of spots. He's 14 first-round finishes. He's 15-3. Drew Dober just been around forever, right? 20 finishes, 10 in round 1, but he's lost 3 of his last 4. Drew Dober, I think there's a lot of power there, so maybe he could crack him early, but I think he wants to sort of maybe make it a brawl, but maybe get it down to the ground a little bit. Some dirty boxing, as we shout out, but some ground and pound. But, I would lean Torres as of this moment. I'm curious with that line, but it's close to a pick him. I think Torres minus 125 or close to there. But
around there now. It's a tough one for me, bro, because I think it's going to come down to whoever's chin holds up. Like, I think it's going to be a big striking exchange in the first or second round. You also have to kind of look at some of these losses that Dober has and even some of the wins. if you go back and watch that Bobby Green-Drew Dober fight, Bobby Green was doubling his strikes and having so much success, and then he just catches him in the second round. Sometimes you have to go back and look at wins and be like, now I can get value betting against that guy who won because they were losing most of the fight. And that's a lot of times how you find value in some of these spots. And guess what? After that fight, Matt Frevola cracks him and finishes him. So that's exactly what I'm talking about.
No, it's a great point. And a lot of fighters, right? Like you're probably the same, but Belal Muhammad remembers everything, every round of every fight he's ever seen. And you have a good memory with that stuff, and you do your film study, right? If I'm not mistaken, Manuel Torres even had some moments against Ignacio Balmondes very early in that fight at Sphere. And if you see a first round finish for Nacho, you may not dive that deep.
I'm gonna go Torres right now, but I'm not. That's not like a bet and pick. That's like my show prediction as of right now. I gotta go back. I do actually want to go back and watch that first round again. I think you have a good point there on Ignacio versus Torres, if he is having good success on the feet or not. Because I would take Ignacio over Drew Dober all day right now. I just would. In a striking match, I would take Ignacio to beat Dober. Let's move down the card here. I'm really excited to get your guys' opinion on this one. Kelvin Gastelum versus Joe Pyfer. This is kind of like another top 10 UFC chin here we don't even talk about. Kelvin Gastelum never been knocked out. Incredible chin. Go ahead. 5 KOs, 5 wins by submission, 8 decision wins in his career. But he's been submitted 3 times, and this is an angle I'm looking at here. Joe Pyfer is very good, very underrated BJJ. We saw his teammate Sean Brady put away Gastelum by submission. My buddy Pat Downey, the Olympic wrestler, they flew him out. He's working with Cejudo and Gastelum out in Mexico. He did a couple weeks in his camp. So I think they think that Pyfer's going to take this guy or try to take him down, obviously. But Pyfer has 9 knockout wins himself, 5 of them in the first round. What do you think here? Do you think there's a dog opportunity? And remember, this is a 3-rounder.
Right.
If it's 5, you kind of have to say, okay, Gastelum's got to weather the storm and follow the path of what Jack Hermanson did to Pyfer. But in a 3-rounder, do you think Kelvin has any chance here against Joe?
I like KG a lot, but I don't. My brother said this could look like a light heavyweight versus a welterweight, and I think he very well could be right. So I don't know where the line is, but John said on the Anik and Florian podcast, Pyfer was minus 550 Saturday. I saw it minus 325 locally here at Hard Rock now, so I don't know what's happening there, but I just think Pyfer is better really everywhere. And a lot of these fights, right? Even the previous one we're talking about Torres and Dober, it's like you're looking at one guy climbing up the mountain, the other guy on the other side of it. So KG just been around forever. I don't know where I'll find the value. You may see some value by sub somewhere, but no, I like Joe Pyfer. I think Joe Pyfer has a ton to prove still. And I believe this is a point that Brian Petrie made on the Anik Florian podcast, riding that momentum from Sean Brady, Philadelphia, into this weekend for Joe Pyfer. I like. What do you like there?
I'm going Joe Pyfer as well. I do think he could win by decision, though. I'm looking at that submission prop. It's plus 360, and it's pretty juicy. I'm going to be honest. But Sean Brady didn't get him out till the 3rd round. We got to ask ourselves, is Pyfer's BJJ as good as Sean Brady's? And Sean Brady almost didn't submit Kelvin in a 3-rounder. I could kind of see a world where Pyfer just beats him for 3 rounds and gets a 30-27 or maybe like a 30-26 or something. So I got to watch some more footage on this one. Obviously, the pick is Pyfer. I think all 3 of us are going to agree there.
Joe Pfizer. 100% Joe Pfizer, my brother. You're going to vaccinate me, brother. Brother, talking about Kelvin Gastelum, let me tell you something. Do you remember when he was on his prime?
Yes.
Knocking out Vitor Belfort?
Yeah.
And that's
And the Adesanya fight.
Adesanya fight. So that's how fast is the sport, and that's how people forget, Right. He used to be good, but nowadays I think he passed his prime, and it is what it is. So I'm going with Joey Pfizer.
Yeah, and Sean Brady got that Kimura on Kelvin Gastelum. I wonder if Joey P has that.
That's how he make the bets. Look, on the back of his head, that's the parlay cycle.
Bro, Sean Brady almost had that Kimura this past week, and I had that sprinkled too.
He still helped your bank account though.
Oh,
How much money you made this
Sean
weekend?
Brady, shout out to Sean Brady. He commented on the Instagram reel and said, "I'll send you my Venmo."
No, that's cool.
Yeah.
Wait, but you're asking how much money he made? He didn't bring you a Versace bag?
No. I even comment on that. I say, I want that shit, my bro.
He said his birthday's coming up. So.
Yeah, my
calls you
birthday's
my
coming up,
brother.
my
Hey,
bro. I want.
bro, what do you think about these though? Ask him who got him these.
Bro, those are sick.
Bro, he's got to wear those to his next fight, not those other shades.
I don't want to even...
Those are the Gucci shades, bro.
Don't touch. No, joking.
All right, let's move down the card here. We're all going.
No, but you didn't answer my question.
Good.
How much money you made this weekend, brother?
Including everything.
Including everything.
So I lost like 10 or 15K in basketball. I got crushed.
15?
15K in March Madness. But I won about 95K in the UFC, and I won like 40 and 50 in blackjack. So I had a very good weekend.
Don't you feel guilty, my brother?
Why would I feel guilty, bro?
No, I'm joking.
Yeah, I feel guilty. How's he supposed to feel on the tough weekends? when he's eating a bowl of
100%, my
ice?
brother.
Yeah, no.
You
trust
made
me.
like more than $100,000 on the
I know.
weekend.
I hate when people comment and they're like, because I like bet on a prelim fight and win big, and they're like, you just made more than the fighter. I'm like, bro, that makes me feel like that does make me feel like an asshole, because like a prelim fighter making like 12 and 12 or something. Why do you think I like to like Venmo or DM some of these guys and girls? Like, I like doing that genuinely.
But how much you give to them?
I'm not gonna talk about it, bro. 'cause I
You're
don't
not
want
gonna
anybody
talk
get in
about
trouble.
it?
People always because
You have to
people-
talk about charity, so more people do the charity.
No, but here's the thing, bro. I actually tweeted last week. I was like, I want to create a fund where fighters that
Money
win,
Moicano retirement fund.
No,
I think
listen,
that's a good
listen,
idea.
Listen. I want to create a fund where gamblers send fighters money after their wins. The problem is, even though I have good intent with it, it's going to create an
Inside
investigation.
information, 100%. I want
And I
FBI
don't want
looking this
anything
guy,
to do-
brother.
No, I'm not even talking about the FBI. I'm talking about the UFC. I mean, probably both. But my point is, I was just trying to help guys that win or lose, and they're going to make something of it, and that's why we can't do it. It sucks.
Yeah.
But it is what it is, bro. Let's move down the card. Raul Rosas Jr. versus Vince Morales. I love this fight. I'm considering a prop bet on this one. You guys can probably guess it. Raul Rosas Jr., 6 wins by submission, 20 years old. Youngest fighter in the
Man,
UFC.
20 years old is
Still
still.
20, bro. Unbelievable, this guy's
Unbelievable.
potential. Vince Morales 0-2 since his return to the UFC. And guess what those losses are by? He has not in those specific losses, but he has 2 losses by submission. Is Raul going to get this guy out of here by sub, bro?
I don't think so. I think it's going to be the decision. What's the props for the decision, you know?
For Raul by decision?
Yes.
It's like +1 something, not much.
Plus one something?
Uh,
Plus?
Raul Rosas
plus
by
money?
submission is +280. I like that number.
I like that too.
I like that number, bro.
I don't think he's going to finish the other guy. But
I think there's a buy low spot on him potentially because the UFC no shade card, it looked like he was hurt, had some sort of, he did not look like himself in that fight. So I'm thinking maybe this is a bounce back spot for him against a guy that has been submitted 2 or 3 times. Let me take a look here.
He's so young, you know, and
So
he's
young.
still growing, I think, and developing, but he's a mauler. Like, he has that sort of it factor where
Yeah.
anything feels possible with this dude. And he's like built older than he is in a way. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? His shoulder,
Oh,
there's
for
a big
sure.
dude.
I still can't believe he still isn't 21 years old. That's crazy.
that's crazy.
So him to win Raul by decision is +110. It's basically like a double up bet. And then
That's a good bet, I
by
think.
submission you're getting +270. So you get, almost 3 to 1 on your money.
I think decision. I think that's the way to go because
It's the most likely outcome per the odds. Let's look at Vince Morales' losses. So he hasn't been submitted in quite some time. He only been submitted once in the UFC, and that was back in 2018 in Contender Series. But guess what, bro? It's that rear naked choke. And if Raul is on your back, you're fucked.
yeah.
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 So we'll see. I think we're all going Roses for the pick.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on.
And I don't know if you are in your books, but the guy that beat Raul Rosa Jr. is fighting too.
Yes.
C-Rod, right?
C-Rod, that's a very good fight we should talk about. Glad you
Yeah.
said that.
C-Rod
because
against
C-Rod
the
is
Brazilian,
actually
the Brazilian Dálmata.
a small favorite against Melky Costa.
Yes. What do you think? I want to know opinion of you guys on this fight.
Christian Rodriguez, man, I've talked to a lot of guys that have spent a lot of time with him and say he is just like Jared Gordon's talked about Christian Rodriguez just being dominant in the gym. So I see that price at -160, and that's maybe the top of the money line range for me when it comes to betting. Not like I'm allowed to bet MMA, Hard Rock
You
Bet,
don't bet?
kicking me
You
out.
don't bet?
Bro,
Tell him
this
the
is a good
story
time
if
for me
you
to.
can.
So I'm contractually allowed to bet. I mean, look, my brother obviously is not allowed to bet, and I'm close to my brother, but I'm not my brother, right? But Hard Rock Bet locked me out about a month, right around the time of the NFL season was getting close, to the Super Bowl. They locked me out, right? So now I am back in Hard Rock Bet, but I'm not allowed to bet on mixed martial arts. They block me completely from betting on mixed martial arts to the point where I can't even queue anything up, max wager hit, so I have no choice. But no, I like Christian Rodriguez a lot. I'd look to bet him here, but I don't know as much about Melky Costa.
Yeah. First of all, before we talk about this, Hard Rock Bet, I'm calling you out. Unlock his account. Let him bet MMA. There's nothing shady going on.
I got a different social
He's
security
his-
number than my
He's
brother.
his own person, bro. He doesn't know inside information. He's just trying to bet. Let the guy bet.
You just know that Belal gonna try submission the second round. Right?
Exactly.
Don't let him bet on Belal Muhammad. Just that.
That's fine. That's fine.
Imagine he
but
show
you
up
know-
like with $10 million before, like Kimura round 2.
Yeah, right.
Fuck that, my brother. That's
But you know what my brother and I used to do betting that we still do to this day, right? We're fans of professional sports in Boston. We're from Massachusetts, football, basketball, whatever it is. But normally what I would do, right? Let's say you're fighting and you're my friend and you are my friend. I want you to win. Let's say you're fighting Matty Betts. I don't know Matty. I'm putting a bunch of money on Matty Betts so that if I'm sad that you lose, I'm getting paid.
Okay, that makes sense.
You feel
See,
me?
I did the
so,
opposite.
So
I did the
normally
opposite.
what I would do, right, is I would put a bunch of money on Jack Della Maddalena so that if he beats Belal, I'm getting a bag. But no, I'm not doing it.
There's two ways gamblers think. That's one of them. The other one, you know how I am. I'm like, if Moicano loses, I want to be down bad with him.
Yeah.
If he wins, I want to be up nicely with him, you know? So, but again, that's called an emotional hedge. That's
Yeah.
what that's called.
Emotional hedge,
It's an
that makes
emotion-
sense.
It's an emotional hedge. Same concept if you bet on against your Patriots, right?
Exactly.
In the NFL, the Patriots back in the day with Tom Brady, they never lose, right? So if he bets on another team, the one time they do lose, at least he's not as unhappy, or he's at least maybe.
And we talk about paying for wins,
Yeah.
right? Do you know what I mean? Like if you tell me right now, give me $5,000, I'll guarantee Belal meets Jack Della Maddalena. Let's go to the fucking bank. You know what I mean? I'll give you $5,000 to guarantee him a win today.
Yes.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
that's true. All right, let's talk about this C-Rod fight, Melky Costas. So I'm going to give you guys some insight on Melky. So he's the guy that Moicano tweeted. Andre Philly jumped back into the guillotine. Remember that?
Yes, yes.
So
and he did.
He did. Melky is a very well-rounded guy. Good striking, good submissions on the ground. His last 2 fights, he's won by actually 2 of his 3 wins in the UFC are by submission. So he had the guillotine against Andre Fili in a fight where he was outstriking him 27-7, by the way. And then he has a submission against Nurmagomedov, round 3 submission there late. And then your teammate Thiago Moises was able to submit him back in 2023.
But he got the fight on a week's notice.
Costa did?
Yeah, that
That's
was the
good-
way
that's good
he
insight.
went to the UFC.
Yeah. But since then, he's rattled off 3 of his 4 wins. And his only loss is Steve Garcia, who has big power in his hands.
Yeah.
So I think this is a decent underdog spot. I'll tell you what, Jason, I agree with what you said on C-Rod, but usually he's a guy that you're betting as a small dog against prospects, right? Now he's in that opposite spot where, oh, this guy's actually valued more by the market now. Now he's favored against a more well-rounded guy than he's usually facing, right? He's getting an 18 or 19-year-old Raul Ruzas. He's getting guys that are coming up, and Austin Bashi, who's another prospect. As soon as he fought a big, well-rounded guy, Julian Erosa submitted him. The question is, can Melky Costa sub him by guillotine the way that Julian Erosa did?
No. And Julian Rosa, I'm sorry, Julian Rosa, but you sucks, right? You suck.
Oh, God. Here we go.
But the problem is he does have a good guillotine.
His guillotine's nasty.
Very good guillotine. And he finished Carcassinha, Ramos with the same guillotine before.
Oh,
you know?
Ricardo Ramos,
So
yeah.
I think he has a very good guillotine, but overall I think C-Rod is better than him, even on grappling. He's a very good
Better
grappler.
than Erosa, you mean?
No, better than
Melky.
Erosa, yes.
You're saying he's better than Erosa, he just got caught.
Got
in a
caught, yeah,
guillotine.
he got
That
caught.
makes sense.
That's the thing.
I think I agree that he's a more well-rounded grappler, but if you get caught in a guillotine by Erosa, you're not getting out of that.
What you mean by that, brother? What you mean by that?
Well, he's more well-rounded grappler?
Yes. No. C-Rod is more well-rounded grappler.
I think C-Rod's a more
Then Costa?
well-rounded grappler than Erosa.
And then Costa. What do you think?
I think he's probably more well-rounded, but Costa might have the slicker guillotines or submissions. I don't know. And also, what do you think about the size? Like, do you think C-Rod, like...
I think C-Rod is small.
He's a little small for 45, bro.
He's small. He's 135, and they forced him to go up because he was not making the weight.
And Melky's 3 inches taller.
Yeah.
Same reach, though. They both have a 71-inch reach. I think this is potentially a fight of the night outside of that co-main. That co-main is insane.
Yeah.
What's the co-main?
What else?
Dober.
What else do you
Dober,
guys
thank
have
you.
on Mexico? What other fight?
I'll tell you, I'm leaving. Wheels up, going there. I'll be in
Are
the
you?
building
You'll be
tomorrow
there?
morning.
Let's go.
Excited.
Oh, that's
you know?
awesome.
Um,
What is the city? It's like Mexico City?
Yeah, Mexico City. I've never
It's
been.
gonna be sick, bro.
Yeah, so
that's gonna be a blast.
at altitude, which should be
Be
fun.
careful with the cartel, my brother.
No, I will be. You can be sure. But hey, I lived in LA for a while. People think I'm Mexican. I could pull it off,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Wherever I am, you know?
Yeah.
Put a bandana, my brother.
Oh, I'm in business. You know, I did that for a while anyway.
Let's see. Any other fights here? I want to get your opinion on this one. Ronaldo Rodriguez.
100% Ronaldo is winning.
Oh, he looked.
He looked bad on his last fight?
Ode Osborne almost knocked him out. I think he's gonna lose by decision.
Do you think he's losing? He's losing? That's why
Well,
I
Ode-
don't trust my bets. I don't trust my picks.
Yeah, well, Ode, you know, yes, had moments, but he also came back and,
Yeah,
you know, handled him
right.
pretty good. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's a tough one for me.
But Ode's a guy that has been losing to, you know, like
Yeah.
Like Ode Osborne lost to Filio.
Yep.
He lost to Asu Almabayev. He got subbed by like Tyson Nam knocked him out cold. Manel Kopp knocked him out cold. Brian Kelleher subbed him. So like Ode's a guy that's been
Yeah.
put away quite a
Yeah.
lot,
Yep.
you know. So Ronaldo Rodriguez like just pulling out a decision there just makes me question
I
if he
hear
can
you.
beat a guy that has good striking in this fight. A guy that went the distance with Joshua Van. So it's a tough fight. I lean the dog there.
I hear you there.
Let's see. Any other last ones? What about Lupi Godinez versus Julio Pilastri?
I don't know what's going to happen on this one. That's going to
We
be
also have
tough
Rafa
to
Garcia versus Vince Pichel and Jamal Emmers versus Gabriel Miranda.
I think Jamal Amos will beat.
Knockout?
I don't know. Maybe.
Knockout or decision, probably.
Maybe, yeah. He got knocked out 2 times, BSD and Shahir.
Yes.
And
And those haven't aged that greatly, right? Shire's
Yes.
been dropping some. BSD's
Yes.
been dropping some.
and this guy, he has like 10 finishes. So
Yeah.
I think he's a better jiu-jitsu, but his wrestling is not that good. So Jamal Amos is winning, but I think he is a big favorite, right?
Yeah, he's like a 3.5 to 1 favorite. I was looking at his knockout prop, but it's not on the board yet. I think it will be tomorrow. It's a prelim fight. So, any last thoughts, Jason, on any of these?
No, just seeing Vince from Hell Pichel on the
Yeah.
card when dude, he was on Tough Live
Yeah.
way back in the day. Good man right there, and has a decent record in the UFC, just not very active.
Do you guys think he has a chance? Because like Garcia's coming off that beatdown from Grant Dawson on the ground, right? That could impact him going into this fight against a very durable Vince Pichel. So what do you guys think?
Yeah, I don't know. To be honest, I didn't watch both lately. I remember
You remember Garcia Dawson, though, right?
Yes, I remember
Yeah.
that.
That was
a,
an impressive performance.
yeah, there was a beatdown.
Beatdown.
But I don't remember. Vince Pichel, I remember he fighting Gabriel Bonfim.
Yes.
He's losing a decision in Brazil. I don't really care, to be honest.
No, that's good. That's
No,
honest.
that was-
Yeah, I wouldn't go near it betting. I think there's a reason why the line's where it is.
Right, 100%. All right. Let's see.
Do you
Let me-
think that's a good card, Jason? Be honest.
No, I don't think it's a great card, right? But, you know, for me, right, and you know this, right, there's certain fighters you're always looking forward to seeing fight. And I will say I'm blessed and privileged to be able to sit right behind my brother. So seeing athletes fight at that distance is super
Yeah,
entertaining for
it's
me
nice.
all the time,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But Brandon Moreno always moves the needle for me. Chiwiwis moves the needle for me. You can be sure. So no, I mean, and Joe Pyfer too. So I guess for me, I am very interested in the last 4 fights of the night. You can
Yeah,
be
so
sure.
much, bro.
For me, Torres and Dolberg are going to be crazy. Joy Fizer and Kevin Gastelum. And let me tell you something. I think it's way better just because in Mexico, you know? It's not on fucking Apex.
Well,
so,
right, exactly.
Facts.
Exactly.
So that's a good card in my opinion.
I agree. Very top heavy, though. The 4 last fights are bangers, like absolute bangers. And then the prelims just don't really do it for you. You know?
Right,
Some-
bro,
there's a
the
couple-
level of
there's a couple
this
good ones. Hey, I'll tell you one thing, Moicano. I'm the last person that I hate when people complain about bad cards. To me, a bad card is not having a card to bet on a weekend. So I'd rather them be slightly watered down and have consistent cards every week because I want to bet on the cards, bro. I hate if there's not a UFC card on a Saturday, I'm like, what am I doing today? You know, it's weird.
I get it. Well, and that's what I'll say, right? Like, I'd like the ability in Florida to be able to go into Hard Rock Bet if I want to place a bet on a random day that's not illegal. You know, I get it.
But you can't do that now.
Exactly.
Fuck regulations, my brother.
Bro, that's some bullshit. So we'll talk about that off camera. But Hard Rock, just do the right thing. That's all we got to say. So, all right, Moicano, tell the people what they need to do.
What's up, motherfuckers? You need to subscribe. And by the way, we were on Dirty Boxing. A lot of fans of the show. And one of them come to me and say, hey, brother, when you guys hit 50K, call me. You don't need to pay flights for nobody. We are here from Florida. And I say, brother, this is not how it works. we have to play by the rules, right?
Yeah, it's gotta be random. What we'll do
It's gotta
is
be random.
We'll put our subscribers in like a randomizer and pick some. But let's take a look at what we're at. So Jason, once we hit 50K subs, we're flying. I think we said 2 or 3 people.
Two
to
people.
Florida to spar. Gilbert and
Actually,
Moicano.
we could do 3, right?
We
To
can do
spar
3.
Renato?
Yeah, we
Spar
can do
me,
3.
Gilbert, and Maddie.
And me, I guess. Let me see.
That
here.
would be funny,
Let's
my
see.
brother.
We're at 33,200 subscribers. We need 17,000 more subs. Hopefully, we will get that in the next few months, and we'll be flying you guys out to Florida. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you guys in South Florida eventually.
Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Jason.
Thank
Always,
you, Jason.
boys, always.
Great show, boys.